allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Byrne. Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Present.
Mr. Nola.
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell. Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here. Are there any comments from residents on agenda items this evening?
No one signed up to speak.
Anybody in the audience wish to address us on agenda items? Seeing none. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Burns, second by Mr. Nola. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Section B, bills, financial reports, Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Section B, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves Section B1 list of bills, B2 monthly financial statements, and B3 budget transfers as listed in Section D of the Tuesday, October 17th, 2017 regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nola, second by Mr. Stubenfort. Questions, comments on Section B? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have no items previously tabled. Section D, personnel agenda, Ms. Krupp.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 7 as listed in Section D. Under number 1, we have 2 resignations listed. Under Section 2, for leave of absences, we have 9 listed. 6 have been added since the first meeting, all with supporting documentation. Under Section 3, transfers, that's per the collective bargaining agreement. Under Section 4, for employment, we have a semester substitute, a substitute food service worker, and after-school teachers who are being recommended. Section 5, supplemental contracts, there's a resignation, an issuance, and a reclassification. Section 6, we have 19 volunteers listed, and under Section 7, it's a right-to-know officer change to approve the appointment of Janet Estock as the, to perform the duties of the right-to-know officer effective November 1st, 2017.
I got a question.
Yes,
I
sir.
need a motion first.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nola, second by Mr. Stubenfort. Questions? George?
Yes. On these transfers on number 3, that lady, Bozu, whatever the heck that is, who's she related to?
We didn't have anything notated in our file that she had a relation on there, but I can find out.
I think he sees the asterisk. Does that mean it's
It's
an
new.
addition?
It just mean it was added afterwards, the first one.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you. Could we vote on the first leave of absence separately?
You can do that.
Which number is that, Jeff?
Number 2.
2-1.
The first one.
First individual.
Why don't we just vote on that right now?
Fair enough. I make a motion to approve number 2, first one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stubenfort, second by Mr. Nola. We have a roll call.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
No.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Motion carried. Any other questions or comments? We have a roll call vote on the rest.
Yes.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Section E, conference and conventions, we have none. Section F, administrative resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I'm going to defer to item number 1 and item number 2 for Dr. Rossi. And item number 3, I'm sorry.
1, 2, and 3? Item number 1 is 30-day public display, revised policy 246, student wellness policy. Exhibit A is affiliation agreement for student teaching with Clarion University. And 3, a grant received from the Carnegie Science Center for Evergreen Elementary for the Science Center admission.
Dr. Chaky, following items.
Item number 4, the facility agreements for the TRWEA show for the Gateway Winter Guard to use the Gateway High School Sports Complex. Also for the Gateway High School Auxiliary Gym, the American Cancer Society event, and also 2 events from Premier Performance Arts will be used in the Robert Reed Performing Arts Center.
Thank you. Item number 5, and continuing on, Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Item number 5, recognize the following district booster clubs and support organizations who have properly submitted applications to the district for the 17-18 fiscal year. Please note that University Park Elementary School PTO and Gateway Middle School PTO were added since the study session meeting. Item number 6, approve the electrician and labor hourly rates with Merit Electrical Group, Inc. for installation of the new energy-efficient internal building light fixtures during the 17-18 fiscal year at the various labor rates as depicted in Exhibit D. Item number 7, approve the credit change order in the amount of $2,070 with Merit Electrical Group Incorporated during the 17-18 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit E. Item number 8, approve the structural engineering professional service fees with Civil and Environmental Consultants Incorporated for the analysis of retaining wall remediation in front of the high school stadium bleachers as a future capital repair and improvement project to be completed during the 18-19 fiscal year in the total amount of $19,120 as depicted in Exhibit F. Item number 9, approve the acceptance and expenditure per the AIU Transition Memorandum of Understanding for a $700 kindergarten transition grant received by the district passed through the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3 in partnership with the Pittsburgh Association for the Education of Young Children and the United Way of Southwest PA for the 17-18 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit G.
Item number 10, Dr. Rossi.
Yeah, we're looking for approval of the Science Department pilot for grades K through 8, and we're looking at to be an abbreviated pilot, probably through December.
Okay.
Questions or comments on section F?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Stuport, second by Mr. Nola. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please, Bonnie?
Mr. O'Donnell. Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Motion carries. Section G, resolutions presented by board members. We have none.
I have one.
You good?
Since it wasn't added 7 days in advance, I know it'll require a super majority. I'm sure several board members have heard, but I was approached by several parents at Friday's football game asking and inquiring about elementary students coming to the game and having to pay the full ticket price. So if they were to go up to the athletic office prior to, they could purchase a discounted price. I believe it's $3 instead of $6. But the tickets are only sold at the high school. So I was wondering if either A, we could sell them at the elementary schools, or B, if we could just have a child ticket price at the gate. I believe we only have one last home game, but I think it would be a good thing to do. Every other sporting event has 2 different ticket prices. I think if a child's going to come with their parent, they shouldn't have to pay the full price. So I make a motion that we reduce or create the child ticket prices or student ticket prices at all home games.
I second that.
At the gate.
At the gate, correct.
Consistent
Second,
with
What we do at every
charge
other
it.
sporting
Yes.
event, correct.
I second that.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments?
So they hear me.
So more or less,
Do we need to set a price?
The price is already set, what they sell at the high school, I believe it's $3, so I'll just refer to
Whatever
whatever
it is, whatever we do
the
advise.
student ticket sale price is, just offer that option at the gate as well.
this is just for football games or all events?
Just for football game, because all other events actually do have 2 ticket prices.
Soccer
Is
does?
this just a oversight? Did you talk to Randy about why we haven't done this?
I believe it's just for ease. He had stated that it's set by the school board, so we can set the prices whatever we want it to be.
So let me ask, Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all. I just think it's for ease of ticket collectors, just this one ticket price. Because obviously there's a lot more traffic going through a football game than, let's say, for instance, a wrestling match or a volleyball match.
All right, so let me try to think through why it might be a little complex, and then let's rip my argument to shreds here. So let's say I'm a parent and I've got, 7 kids, or some of them are, older kids, some are younger, and I go up to the ticket booth and I say, give me 15 tickets because I want to take my kids and the neighborhood kids. So what's the poor ticket, agent going to do? Give them all $3 tickets or ask for identification for the kids? I mean, how could they know?
I don't think it's any different than a high school student buying 10 tickets at lunch and then, providing them to brothers and sisters home from college or anything like that.
So this wouldn't be an extra burden on the ticket taker, right?
I don't think any more than a burden that's placed on those at the high
If
school.
I understand your question, Mr. Ritter, you're trying to differentiate between, say, a 17-year-old high school student that is recognizable to a 19-year-old adult who's not.
Not quite. I mean, that's another issue, but a parent who comes to the
Sure.
ticket office in a car by themselves and claims to want 15 tickets for $3 each. I mean,
Okay.
what is that, Cub Scout leader, or,
Child tickets look different than.
Yeah, I mean,
They do.
how's the ticket agent going to
So they look different.
ask for proof?
Yeah, I would just say, I think most of the high school students think, most of them already purchased their tickets well in advance. I think the biggest problem, and what I heard from 3 parents, was they were elementary parents. So they come to the game,
Exactly.
don't have the opportunity, so if you have a kid that's yay high, you give them a $3 ticket, and the parent pays.
Plus, I like the idea of a Cub Scout leader purchasing 15 tickets for the, the little, just bring them all. Just bring them to the football game for $3 each. Let's fill up the stands. So,
Can I intervene here? I have talked to Mr. Rivesti and Mr. Short. We were discussing this about the changing in the prices. We're looking into doing something next year. Chad, I don't know if we'll get the votes or not to do it for Friday game for McKeesport. We were talking about getting like a season pass for students so that they would have it. The only problem with that, if the student wouldn't lose the pass and they would come back and say, I bought a pass, what happens, what do I do then? Students could purchase a shirt and wear that to the game, so then they know that they're a student. They would come in and then, be supporting both, maybe a boost organization at that time, but they would have something showing that they are a student within the district. Going to the other schools to sell, I don't really want to get the PTOs involved. It would really have to be somebody from the athletic department selling the tickets. So we are discussing that. We have an upcoming meeting. We haven't set the date yet with the athletic committee to discuss that. But it's in the works that we're talking about.
Those have been in discussion since, your son and I were at Gateway. So I think, hey, there's one more game left. I just, make a recommendation that we pass the motion, get the word out there, and hopefully more students come, and hopefully the parents are happy.
and even if there is some ambiguity here,
One game left.
I would, I would recommend that we err in favor of trying to fill up the stands,
So,
The difference between a $6 and a $3 ticket, let's get the kids in.
can we just say that it's for this next game and then figure out what we're going to do? Because I think there's actually more to it. 'Cause
Bring it back.
I've been approached dozens of times from even parents whom have like multiple kids that play multiple sports, and they pay, they take the 2 parents and their 2 kids to every game. They're spending like,
It's a lot.
$25 every event that they go to.
Or
And it gets to be, and they bring their grandparents or whatever, it gets to be rather expensive for them. We should probably, in the long run, figure out a better strategy for that.
If
But I think we should do this one for this game. And then whatever
And then
you
we
guys
could
come
put
up with.
together a athletic policy committee meeting to discuss
Yeah.
ticket prices, look at what other school districts are doing with the package. Yep. Okay.
Is that, okay?
Okay, so what's the motion we're voting on?
So the motion would be to offer the student ticket sales at the gate.
For this game,
For this
Friday
game.
night period.
I'm just gonna
game
say,
only.
at the gate, you can change it whenever we come up with a new plan.
Can I just ask a question here, too? If the students are coming to the games, I don't want to say it's a question, make a comment. If the students are coming to the game, I would like the parents to keep an eye on them instead of them running wild in the back. We have had some incidents.
Very valid
So this
concern.
isn't a, like, free-for-all. Well, I think you know, Mr. Ritter, what I'm talking about. It's like a free-for-all in the back, and that's the concerns. I know one of the other school districts have made it a policy that no one under the age of 13 can come in without parent supervision. I don't want to get into that, but I don't feel that our police should be babysitting the students up there.
I think it's valid.
I think it's getting a little better, actually. I think that they're working on some things, but
Yeah,
but it's still.
we've adjusted some areas of concern that we have posted our officers, and this has been an issue for decades at Gateway. And we have a unique stadium because if you do venture out to other stadiums, you will only notice that there is really only one level. And that level is typically at the bottom of the stadium where they have refreshment stands. Gateway is unique that we have both the top and the bottom, where we allow traffic to flow both ways with kids and adults. So that makes it an interesting dynamic, but, you know, for the safety and well-being of everyone, I think I agree with Mrs. Warning and everyone here that the parents, if you're listening out there, please try to help with our situation when dropping off students.
Good. Thank
We
you.
have a roll call, Bonnie?
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Stubenbort.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mrs. Byrne.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. Nola.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Aye.
O'Donnell.
Motion carries. Any other board members have any resolutions they wish to present this evening? Comment from residents on non-agenda items. Anybody wish to address the board at this time? Richard? Nothing. Okay. Administrative and board reports. Start with, we'll start with you.
No, thank you, Mr. Williams. Two quick items here, and I'm going to have Dr. Rossi, in case my phone rings, yes, thank you. Dr. Rossi, maybe talk a little about during your report, School Bus Safety Week and the efforts of the district. This is a brand-new initiative, so I'm going to defer to you after I get done here. But also wanted to notify the board that the marching band that was approved to go to Washington, D.C., I believe, on a trip, that trip has been canceled. So I did want to make the board aware of that. Also, for our parents out there, we have open house tomorrow evening at all 4 of our elementary schools. Look forward to seeing everyone out and about. It's a wonderful time to get to meet not only the teacher, but the layout of the building, but also understand the curriculum that has been put in place, along with the instruction that your children are receiving. That's all for tonight.
Thank you. Dr. Chakey.
Just a quick update to the board in regard to our equity coordinator, Dr. Philip Woods. And Dr. Woods has been engaged in visiting our district and gathering evidence and taking a look at the teaching and learning environment. And so he's formulating a plan right now in concert with myself and Mr. Short to talk about, attempting to take care of the equity gap and be the best that we could possibly be as a district. Dr. Woods visited last week to our last principals meeting. So he was a participant within the learning walk, and everything that he does, he's been doing it through the lens of equity. So he's taking a look at the culturally responsive pedagogy and also taking a look at the curriculum and everything from what's displayed on the board to what students are learning within the class. So he's been doing an excellent job with that. The other part of this, we visited 2 schools today. So I want to thank students and staff for welcoming Dr. Woods. And he's really in awe of the great things that he sees at Gateway School District. So he's only going to be able to help us accelerate student achievement. So we thank him for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Rossi.
Yes, as Mr. Short alluded to, we are participating in Operation Safe Stop this year. It's really a motor vehicle awareness and also student pedestrian awareness campaign. We're doing it in partnership with Monroeville Police, the Pitcairn Police, and STA. So we'll be doing some activities this week. Principals are visiting bus stops. Mr. Short and I will be out this week as well, just stopping at bus stops and just seeing how things are going at the bus stop, following buses, that type of thing. So it's the first year. We're starting out slow, but I wanted to thank Monroeville, Pitcairn, and STA for their partnership with us.
Excellent. Mr. Schott.
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Crop.
Yes, this year, as you know, we started off with Kelly Educational Services for our substitutes for teachers, secretaries, and aides. Tomorrow night is open house in our elementaries, and they will have representatives at, we're trying to have all of them covered, but they will be at some of the buildings. So if you are interested in substitute teaching or being a secretary or paraprofessional, please reach out to them. They will be able to give you all the information, applications, anything that you might need.
Thank you. Mr. Dice? Nothing. Mr. Ritter?
Sure, okay, so. We had some improvements made in the school district over the summer, great work done, and some pictures were taken of that. There was a great commentary by Mr. O'Donnell. What we wanted to do is try to put together sort of a videotape that sort of laid all that out and mapped the pictures against the speech. Has that video been accomplished yet?
Yes, in fact, I don't know if Mr. Brown is out there, but he has a compilation of all the videos that he has taken. We're also trying to download Mr. O'Donnell's speech to that. In addition, we are also adding this into our first fall magazine as an individual report on district initiatives over the summer. So within that magazine, this will be out as well.
Did we get any reports back from some of the teachers about the air conditioning improvement?
Very
and
much.
the colors of
However,
the
I will
paint in the
say,
pool?
At the start of the year, it was abnormally cold.
That's probably good.
So we did not use the air as much. However, the last couple of weeks we have. So it has been positive throughout the district.
All right, number two.
That's why I looked at you.
I was waiting for that one.
I looked at you. You
Good.
understand.
I am eagerly looking forward to that broadcast. Number
Yes.
two, we tried to sell some unused or obsolete equipment, and we had some questions about who gets what, when, and how much it cost. So I did some thinking on that, and I was trying to, touch the edge cases to try to make sure that whatever we were doing in an equitable basis. And I think what we need to do is visit that policy again, have me toss some of my edge-related questions to make sure that we don't have one neighbor who has no children in the school subsidizing a computer for a person, who does have a child in the school. And so some of the things that we sell, like a tractor or, an old chainsaw, a retired widow's never going to want to get that at a discount, but somebody else might. So what I'm saying is, we need to come up with a protocol whereby whatever is sold at its best value price, that money put back into the district, so that even if somebody never purchases something, they still get the benefit of having gotten the best bang for the buck on the sale. So I'm just not comfortable that we've done that yet. So when we have a meeting, I'd like to attend and try to get some of those pieces ironed out. They very well may already be ironed out. I'm just not aware of it. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Next, the other thing was we've got this wonderful press box, and we've got the kids playing football, and I think that's a wonderful opportunity for the folks who are able to go into the press box to enjoy that game and socialize and network with some folks in the community who I think it would be lovely if we could find a way to invite them up there, such as veterans or people who are in the military, they come home and they would like to be treated to a game, or, the other dignitaries that we could invite. So we don't have the seats full up there. I'd like to see them full all the time. So if we could come up with a way, I think it would be difficult to do, but come up with a way where someone calls a week or two in advance and tries to get as many seats filled as possible, get commitments from people, get those seats filled so that they can come to the game, and enjoy a nice fall football event with some of us who would like to talk with some of these folks as well. Okay? And thanks to the folks who keep sending us literature or emails or gripes, complaints, pats on the back. We're here to serve not only you, we're here to serve the teachers, the students, each other, the members of the community, and our neighbors. So whether we like it or not, send us the things that you think we need to hear, and we are here to read them, understand them, and do the level best we can to react to those. Okay? Thank you. That's all I have.
Ms. Barnes?
I have nothing further this evening, thank you.
Mr. O'Donnell?
I have nothing at this time.
Mr. Rucci?
I do. This week I had the pleasure of visiting some schools with Mr. Brown for the Building and Grounds Committee to take a look at the landscaping of the majority of the schools, with the exception of the high school, and come up with some areas that might need some new landscaping, some changes, a new sign in Evergreen. So the goal is to come up and identify the areas, scope of work, possibly a maintenance plan that we could have somebody come in regularly 3 times a year, trim, mulch, weed, things like that. So we will probably have that completed by the end of this week, and then we'll create that scope of work, and that'll go out to bid. So just wanted to let everybody know that that is something we are looking into. I know you often mention how, our schools need curb appeal, and it sells new families, and we want our schools to all look nice. We want the landscaping to be presentable. We want the schools to be welcoming. So that's something we're going to try to plan for and budget for next year. So that's in process.
Excellent.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Studenport.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. A few things here. First one, I just wanted to draw attention to the good work that our students are doing. I know this was mentioned a little while ago, but our students throughout the school year thus far have been raising money for a school outside of Houston whose mascot is also the Gator. And they do this every year for different causes. And I just want to say thank you to all the students across all grade levels who do a great job. Thank you to all teachers and administrators that are involved with that as well. I know that's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. Second, homecoming went off for the most part without a hitch. So thank you to all students, teachers, chaperones, and everyone involved for having the dance go off well. Also at the football game at halftime, it was, from what I heard, it was a good showing. I had to go see my nephew's game in Franklin. So, number 3, I just had a question. The basketball coach that we recategorized today, they'll receive that full pay, correct, for the year? Okay. And just so the public's aware, because I think we went through that pretty quickly. Last year, we didn't have enough kids to have a 7th and an 8th grade team for the girls' basketball over at the junior high. So we had a head coach and an assistant coach with one joined team. This year, we had enough girls come out and try out for the teams that we have 2. So we were promoting the one assistant coach, so we have a head coach on both the 7th grade and the 8th grade team. So that's why there's a little bit of a price difference. So I just wanted to let everyone know of that. I'll just touch on it briefly because I do want to go over this in an executive session after the meeting. But the computer sale that you had brought up, John, I completely agree. I think we just need to look at having a better process in place. I think when you look at schools, for instance, like a Penn Hills, they don't get to having all those problems overnight. It's little things that happen and occur and go unaccounted for with no consequences, and that's how you build up to a situation where you have people buying, water heaters for their house on district credit cards. So trust me, we don't have anything like that going on at the district, because Paul still has hair on his head, so we can verify that. But I just want to make sure that we're getting ahead of this, that we make sure we're not going to fall down those steps. I have 2 more pretty serious things, so neither one of them is a popular subject, but I feel as though we do need to address them. The first being, we had a student that had potentially attempted suicide. And I know this is not a subject that anyone wants to talk about, but it is a subject that I think we need to discuss, not only as board members, but as a community. We had 2 students who unfortunately had actually committed suicide within the last few years since I've been on the board. And I just asked, as a district, I know through state requirements, we've created a suicide awareness or prevention officer, and we've looked at having some programs available. I'd really like to revisit that, have the department, have administrators sit down and look if there's something more we can do. I know we do a group assembly for teen dating violence, and Dr. Kusha and Mrs. Kusha come in and do an amazing job. I think Gateway students, because of that, and purely because of that, are very, very well informed, and I would like to look at possibly holding some type of, whether it be a symposium or thing up at the high school, where we're really talking to students, reaching out. If students need help, we're getting them that help, because this is a serious problem.
I can let you know at our last in-service day on the 9th. We had our counselors get together, and they're working cooperatively from the middle school up in outreach programs to bring in to discuss this very same conversation with their
Okay.
kids.
Good. And again, I know it's not a popular subject. It's nothing that really anyone wants to talk about. I completely understand that. But these are kids' lives, and if we can do anything, we sure as hell better do everything that we can. So I just want to make sure we revisit that. The second one is more or less, I guess, a plea to parents. So I had another student who I graduated with from Gateway in 2008 who passed away from an overdose this past week. It's the fourth student from my grade in 2008 who's passed away from a heroin overdose. So I just ask all parents. I know, nobody wants to be nebby, no one wants to look and no one wants to be that parent. We all want to be best friends. Please look and know what the heck your kids are doing. Get help, talk, and friends and students out there as well. I'm sure no students are really listening to this, but make sure you're telling your students, if you see anyone that's doing this stuff, get ahead of it, because we found out all too often, I've responded to literally hundreds of overdoses. It's a dangerous and a deadly addiction, and there's very, very few that are able to successfully wean themselves off of the drug. So please just make sure you're being prudent, you're looking out for the signs, and I know we've done a few things here at the district through the health classes. We've also did a little bit of defensive planning with getting Narcan into the schools, which is good, but I just, it's ridiculous that 4 people that I've graduated with in 2008 have passed away because of that. So parents, please be vigilant out there and make sure you're doing everything you can to help prevent that from even starting. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Mr. Nola.
Yeah, I just have a couple really quick things. Congratulations to all the new Hall of Fame people that they got inducted into the Hall of Fame this last week here, and I just want to say thanks. Thanks to all the board members, all the administrators. This is a tough thing to run this district as smooth as we do, and I think that everybody should have a great round of applause for themselves because we are doing a fine job. No matter what you see or hear anywhere else, this is one of the best school districts in the entire state. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Mr. Nola. Mr. Lapsevich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to thank Mr. Short, bottom of my heart, for letting me and my wife attend the homecoming this past weekend. We were chaperones, even though I had a hard time getting my wife to go because she's hard at work campaigning for Ward 1 councilwoman, but little bribe, and I told her they're going to be cookies and punch, and she had a good smile, and she says that's the only time she ever was able to go to homecoming. She never had a date because she handed out the cookies and the punch, but I said, well, I'll be your first date, and we danced the last song. Even though it was a fast beat, we made it a slow beat. But I have to thank Mr. Short for your backing. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mr. Lapsevich.
Thank you.
Ms. Waring.
Just one thing. Coming off of what Chad said, I have reached out to Michelle Major regarding the issues that Chad was talking about. She would like to get together with the board members, administration. She's waiting for Mr. Aaron Smith. He just started this week. She says there's grants out there that we could get programs into the school with, so that is in the workings. And with that, we have a game Friday night against McKeesport. It's going to be a good game. One more home game, last home game, and then Franklin, and then the end of the season. Just wish all the sports the best of luck, and that's all I have.
Thank you. I'd just like to wish Mr. Chad Stuvenport a happy birthday today. And with that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn into executive session, though, and there'll be no voting after executive session for personnel issues.
Second.
So this closes the meeting, right?
Right, the regular meeting.
Very good.
Second.
Very good.
All in favor, signify by say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
Back to the 1 hour.